everyone, it's Sam here. Thank you for watching. So for this week's scraps video, I'm going to show you how to make 5 rocker cards using paper scraps. So I've pulled out the scraps from my Under the Sea papers. So I've got these 2 different ones. I've got this older one here, and I had some loose bits of some of the scenes. And then this one I've got like scraps of the swirly paper, little bits of these scenes here, but there's the 2 topper sheets here, so I've got strips and I've got all these sentiments and bits I can cut out. So I've kind of really focused on those, and then the ephemera. So you've got this lovely pack here. I believe this is possibly available again. I know it did sell out. So as always, I try and link as much as I can in the description box below. But I've got 5 really lovely, I think, rocker styles. So I have made rocker cards before. I've got, in fact, I've got every one of these styles on the channel as individual videos. So as I make each one, I'll share the other tutorial, because that's obviously in a different theme and colours and things like that. But I thought it'd be nice to have, you know, a playlist with just, you know, all these rocker cards together. And I think that's something I might do. So although I'm doing this series of shaped cards, I might do fun folds in it as well. So then it just gives me more ideas then to share with you each week. So first of all, I'm going to start with the most simple style of rocker card. So for all of these, I have used my circle cutter. This is a really handy tool if you're just starting out, maybe you don't have a die machine. This is going to take up no space at all. You can cut loads of different size circles. I think the smallest is 3 inches, right the way up to 13 inches. But also you can draw around a side plate, dinner plate, anything circular that you have to create similar to what I've got here. These are all going to fit in a 6x6 size envelope, but again, reduce the sizes if you've got a particular one you want it to fit in. So for this one, I actually had this round piece as it was in the paper pack. So that's kind of what started me off to do these rocker cards, was this paper here. So I've cut myself 2 6-inch diameter circles. Okay, this is about a 250 GSM cardstock. I'm going to make a little stopper for all of these, but I'll do that towards the end. And on one of them, you just want to score at 5.5 inches. Okay, and that's going to be our tap to be able to connect the 2 together. So just fold and burnish that one. And then I'm just going to take some of my tacky glue, run that along the top there. And then just take your other full circle and sit it over the top. So they perfectly line up. So whilst that's drying, I'm now going to stick this one over the top, and it's literally just a smidge under. So you want to cut like a 5 7/8. Just this one here, you just unscrew and then you can position it. So there's the 6-inch there. And then you just push it, hold it down in the middle, and this moves around and cuts. There's a little blade there, and there's replacement blades inside. So then you just move the dial just down like 1 bar, tighten it, and then cut another circle again. So I'm going to stick that one on top, and I'm going to use the construction glue now. So that's going to start adding some strength into our card. And just make sure that if it's directional like mine is, that my fold is at the top. There we go. So you'll see now that folds back. So we've got our card, and then it rocks. But we're going to put a little stopper so it doesn't kind of fan out and fall flat there. Like I said, this is very, very simple, this one. So that's pretty much the card done. Now it's just the decoration. So I've just got some of the ephemera here. I've cut this one from that topper sheet that I showed you, and it says Best Fishes, and then I've just popped some foam on the back, and I'm going to position that one out there. With these style cards, you do need to take into consideration where you're positioning things, because you don't want to have too much decoration on the left, because then when the card stops rocking, it will probably just stay tilted, and if you've got any kind of sentiments and stuff, they're all going to be a bit wonky. And then I've just got these here, and I've popped them up on some foam so they're more in the foreground, and then the fish in the paper are in the background. So that's card number 1 all finished. So I did say it was very easy, this style. If you don't want them to rock, then you can land the card by just simply cutting a very small piece just off the bottom there, and that flat edge will then allow it to stand upright and it won't rock. But I want mine all to rock, so I'm making 5 rocker cards. So at the end, like I said, we'll add the stopper, and then I can check and see how they're all kind of rocking and if I need to balance them at all. Okay, so then card number 2, I'm going to try and do them in order of difficulty, although none of them are really difficult, but start off with a real beginner basic one there with number 1. So number 2, I've cut myself again a 6-inch diameter circle, and I've scored at 3 inches right down through the middle. You then want to fold that in half, and that's how this one's going to rock. So you can see there we've got that kind of effect. I've then cut another 6-inch diameter circle, and I've cut it in half, so cut it at 3 inches. And then I've ran this one through using my Bubble Burst. It's an old Creative Expressions embossing folder. It's a 3D embossing folder, but it gives you a really cool effect. And I want to stick this one right over the top. So I haven't got a border, and it's, you know, the same colour. But again, this is just giving you ideas. This could be pattern paper. You could cut this so it was a 5 3/4 circle and then cut it in half, so you've got a bit of an orange border in my case. You know, so play around and look at the other tutorials as well on the Rocker playlist that I've done. So now I'm just going to place that one over the top there, like so. And then I've cut these circles here, these 3. This one was a little bit of scrap, and these measure, so the white one is a 5-inch diameter circle. Then I cut this one using a scallop die, and this is about 4 5/8, 4.5 will be fine. Like I said, it really doesn't matter, whatever you have at hand. And then this one's 4 inches. And what I'm going to do is pop some foam. And I'm going to place this one in the middle of that bigger circle. And then this one I'm just going to stick directly onto the card there. And then with this one, I'm just going to add some glue along the bottom here, like so. And then I'm going to sit this over this base piece, and I want to make sure that I've got the same border here, like all the way around. This is probably going to come in a little bit shorter, so it's 5.5 by 6, this one, but that's fine. Okay. And then I've got my sentiment here. So again, I'm just going to pop that up. This is just cut from that topper sheet. I'm going to position that one. So actually that can come up a little bit higher because I'm still within that 6-inch height. There we go. And then what I've done here is I've taken the whale ephemera, and I've made this little spring here. And to make these, you just want to cut yourself 2 strips of 1/2 inch. So let's just pretend these are 1/2 inch because I'd already put this together, but I should show you how I did that. So you've got your 2 strips there. The length is entirely up to you. It depends how springy you want it to be. But you're going to pop a bit of glue at one end and then stick this piece over. And then you're going to fold that one under and then fold the next one under. Keep them nice and straight, and then under again, under again. And you're going to keep doing that until you've got it as long as you want. Okay, I'm going to stop there. And then I'm just going to keep it, again, like I said, nice and straight. Then just cut off the excess. And then just stick down the end. And don't squeeze it too much. You don't want to lose that spring. This one's a bit smaller, but can you see now you start to get that spring? So I must have done that. I folded it 2, 3, 4 times on that one, and now you've got this little spring. And then I've just popped some glue there, and I just want to hide this behind the whale. You could just pop it up on some foam, but I thought a little bit of movement, it just gives it that little spring. And then I'm going to stick this and then add my glue to the other end, and then position him there. So this, you know, has created dimension to the card, so I pop this in a box envelope, or probably one of my bouncy envelopes would still work. There we go. So now, once that's dry, but he's just got a little bit of movement to him now. I just think it adds that extra little bit of detail. Now I am also going to finish the cards. I've got my water droplets here, and there's some really tiny, you know, little fish and things in the ephemera. So once they're all done, I'm definitely, you know, I'm going to fill these a little bit more. So again, you can now see how that rocks, but I know this is already more heavy on the left hand side. And you can see where it's going to stop. Is it going to? It's not too bad. I reckon if I just pop these, you know, I've got weight to them. If I just add a few up there, I think that will just bring it more to that position there. So that's card number 2. So card number 3, very similar to card number 2, but this time we're going to have our decoration suspended on acetate. So it's all going to be popping up above the top. So this is a 6-inch diameter circle again, scored at 3 inches, and fold that in half. I then cut it again in this other blue. I mean, to be honest, you don't need the 2 different colours. It can all be the same. cut it again in another colour, and this one I've just cut a little wave kind of shape to the top there, and I'm going to stick that right on the top. But before I do that, I want to hide these acetate strips underneath. So this is a construction weight acetate, so it just means that it's going to hold whatever you stick on top. It's not going to just flop over like this. It's going to stay nice and taut. So I'm going to cut these strips. To be honest, the width will vary depending on what you have popping up, but these is the whale and the dolphin there. They're quite big, so I'm going to do about 3/8 of an inch. There we go. So I only need 2, and I'm going to use my red tape here and just pop a strip at the bottom there, and also on this one. Okay, so just taking the backing off of both, and I just want to roughly lay these down where I think I want them to go. Again, bearing in mind the height here, so already that's coming up to 7 inches, so I need to bring them down. So there's the 6-inch mark there, so more there, and then that one could be like that actually, so I think that's going to work. So I'm going to stick this one there and this one like so. So now I just know I can trim this one like so, and I think the whale's probably okay. I'll take a little bit off there. Okay, and now I can just add a little bit more tape to the top, and you could have loads of flowers popping up here. You can have any theme you want. It's a really good style, a bit like a pop-up box card. So now I can position him there, and again I'm just going to keep my ruler just so I can get him in the right place. There we go. So now this piece is going to go over the top. Just make sure it goes under the fin there. There we go. So now it looks like they're jumping out the water, which I think looks quite sweet. So I'm just going to use my construction glue. I'm going to pop it all on here. Doesn't matter if it goes over the acetate, it will eventually dry. And then for the sand effect here, so this is going to stick down here. In fact, I'm probably going to pop it up on a bit of foam. This is using sandpaper. So it was a piece of scrap, still at that 6-inch mark, but I just, you know, even on a scrap card, you can kind of just hold it in place and then cut it. And then I just cut that kind of shape there. And then again, I'm going to use my foam, because that way I can just, you know, pop the odd little fish and seaweed just behind it a little bit. So this one's just going to go and line up with the bottom there. And then I've got all these from that pack. So I'm going to have the Happy Birthday sentiment probably somewhere like that. The treasure chest I think will look good. I'm actually going to cut a big chunk of that off and then position it. So I think I'll have that possibly there, and then yeah, I think that looks really cute. Again, once I've added in these details, I think that's a really sweet little style. So I'm going to get all that stuck down. So that's card number 3 nearly finished. I think it looks lovely. Really fun style, and it's got a nice movement to it. I think that one balances itself pretty well. So I probably won't need to do too much more with that one, but I am again going to use some of these or my accent glaze to add a little bit of shine to that one. So card number 4, I'm going to do a side stepper. So again, what I've cut here is the 6-inch diameter circle, and I've scored at 3 inches right down through the middle. And then using your scoreboard, so you can see there my 3-inch score line, okay, right through the middle. I've also scored at 2 and at 4 down to 3.5 inches. So 2, just down to 3.5 or thereabouts. You could do 4 if you want, you could do 3, it's up to you, but make sure they're both the same. And then rotate it And that 3-inch marker should line up with the 3 inches on your side of your scoreboard. And then you should be able to join these two up at the 3.5 marker. So if you just hover your stylus over until you get to the end of that score line and just join them together. And you can see there what I've got. So I've cut that, but that will be a score line at the moment for you. And then a score line there, and then the one right down through the middle. Once you've scored it, you just need to do some cutting. So grab yourself a ruler, and all you want to do is cut where you've just joined those two markers up. So just use your ruler. Again, I've already cut mine, and just cut from one end down to the other. And then if you just fold the whole thing in half, okay, and then push this one down. So you'll have to fold these score lines because you wouldn't have folded them yet. And you'll see you've got your side stepper. We now need to just snip that piece away. So I just use my scissors and just follow the curve. So you could have things in here popping up if you wanted to. But what I wanted to do with this one is I've got this topper here. I've just cut this at 3 1/4. But I thought having that kind of here with these fish, I need to sort out the sentiment. I'm not too sure, to be honest. I got this far, but I need to think about the rest. I might have that maybe possibly floating there. That could look quite good. And then have the sentiment in the middle of that. But what I wanted to use for the bottom is these are all of the strips from one of the paper pads. And I just want to cover this with all the different strips. I'm going to cover the front of this with my glue. And if you don't want to do strips, you could just, cover this with glue and cover it with, a larger piece of card, so like that, and then just trim around it from the back. It's easy to do it that way. You can obviously make a perfect mat and layer if you want, but these are just meant to be simple, quick ways to make cards. So I'm just going to stick these all down. So I've stuck that all down, and then you want to cut from the back, and it's really easy then because you can position your scissors against the edge of the card, and then it just makes it really easy to follow that shape. There we go. I love that. I think that looks really effective. So I'm just going to have a play around with the rest of this and see how I want to finish that. So I've just covered the inside there with the same teal colour here, and I just snipped around it, and then I've just used some foam, the same acetate that I used on the other card, and just created that little scene. I mean, it's a bit over the top, but what I tried to do was pull out all of these ephemera here, all the images in this strip here. I think it's cute once the stopper's in there, because that one does need, because it does want to kind of fall open, but once it's held kind of a bit closer like that, it again works really nicely. So that's card number 4. And then card number 5 is the same, but it's a double stepper. So I've created this small one on this side already. You're just going to repeat that again on this side. So the measurements I give you in a moment, you just want to do that again on the opposite end. So this is a 6-inch diameter circle again, and you're going to score right down through the middle, so at 3 inches. And then you want to score at 2 and 4 inches, but this time down to 1.5. So 1.5, 1.5, and then again rotate. That 3-inch score line should now line up with the 3-inch marker here, and then you want to join these up, so it should be at the 4.5. Just bring that down and join those together. I was way off with that one there. Can you see it's gone over a bit? A little tip: if you just turn your card over, you can actually rub out the score lines. Just burnish back over, and now it's got rid of it. And then you want to cut the same way that I showed you on that side stepper. So I'm just going to use my ruler, and you're just cutting now where you just scored to join up those two score lines. Again, fold the whole thing in half and then pop that one down. You'll just have to now fold these ones like so. And I'd already done that one. And then you'll have this hanging out. You can leave it if you want to. But again, just take your scissors and just follow the curve there and remove that. So now we've got our double stepper. And then to decorate this one, I've gone for a rectangle panel. Now, whether I stick with this or not is another thing, because again, I kind of plan you know, so much of the cards, but then when I actually go to do them, I do change quite a bit. But I thought about having this one, because I had this bit of scrap which I've just cut down. So I was going to have that kind of there, and then I'm not sure if I'm feeling this one, and then something like that. I feel there needs to be like a bubble colour here, or I bring in a different colour, because I don't feel that's matching as well. Maybe I need to get rid of the white. I'm going to have a little play around, and then I'll be back when I've decided what I'm doing with this one. Okay, so I've changed it quite a bit. So I've ended up cutting another one of another 6-inch diameter circle, used the embossing folder, stuck it on the front, and I've just trimmed around. So now I've got that cool effect. And then I've just used one of my circle dies again. So this is a about a 4-inch diameter, and then this one is 3 1/4. So I'm going to pop that on there. Probably going to use, I think, some foam. And then what I've done is I've taken all of the teal and kind of sand coloured, and orange as well, images from that ephemera pack to match all of this. And I'm just going to create a little scene. I'm going to use the sentiment on the starfish, which says "You're a star." So this is now going to stick on here. So this is a smaller size. This is probably more towards like an A2 smaller card. I think I'm going to add some foam onto here because it will just stick a little bit easier. But again, if you haven't embossed this and you want to keep it flat, then don't use the foam like I am, but I do love my foam. So I'm going to position that one about there. The nice thing is if you come down lower, then you can stick things higher. So he looks quite good, just kind of coming in from the top there. So we'll add a little glue like so. So before I show you all of the finished cards, you then want to, well, you may not want to, but I think it does help a lot, is add this support or stopper to go inside all of the cards. And then you'll have your space on the back to write your message. This is a piece of 4 by 1. And along that 4-inch side, you're going to score at 1, 2 and 3. You could do it a 1/2 inch wide instead of 1 if you prefer it thinner. And then you're going to do a mountain, valley and a mountain fold. So you want to have this W shape. And then take your card and you're going to add your glue to each of the outer sides there. Open up the card and place it along the bottom. So again, you can see that W shape there. And then fold it all down and then close the card. And that now can only open up a maximum of 2 inches. If you want it to only open, you know, a maximum of 1 inch, along the long side you score it every 1/2 inch. You'd only need it to be 2 by 1. So play around with it. It's a really simple little fold and easy to adjust. But now when I open it up, you can see that only opens up 2 inches, which is, I think, the perfect amount for these rocker cards. So I've added the stoppers to all of these. So as always, I like to just go back over all of the cards that I've made today. So this is card number 1, the simplest rocker style. And you can see I've added my accent glaze, which is here, to create all of these bubbles. But then I've also used some of the 3D water droplets there as well. And you can see how clear they are once that glue dries. I think that's a lovely effect. Number 2. Again, I've added some more fish, the 3D water droplets there, and then I've just used my accent glaze to go all over this. I did this on the letter D shaped gift box that I did for Father's Day recently, and I just love the effect, so I've done that again on these ones. That's number 2. And then number 3, I've just used the accent glaze on this one to create all of these water droplets there. And I've added this extra detail there. Number 4 is this side stepper. I've just added a couple of the water droplets just there, just for a little bit of extra texture. And then number 5, which is the double stepper. You can see that cool shape that it has. It looks more like a boat, this one, I think. And again, you can see I've added the accent glaze all along there. I think I've added that one in. I'm not sure if that one was there originally. And you can see the water droplets there as well. Very, very sweet cards. They all rock really nicely. I just used things like the water droplets to kind of balance out. And then what you want them to ideally do is when they stop rocking, they will be upright, which most of them are. Might be a little bit over to one side. So there you have it. So this week, 5 rocker cards using your paper scraps and the ephemera pieces. I think lots of us, if we've got paper collections, you've probably got a lot of these ephemera packs. So hopefully this will just give you some inspiration and fun ways to use those as well. As always, I'll link all of the product that I've used in the description box below the video. I'll have some more scraps videos coming up now because you might want to watch those next. And if you've enjoyed today, please give me a thumbs up, hit the notification bell and subscribe if you haven't done so, and then you won't miss out on any future videos. See you all again soon. Bye.